Okay, right, welcome to my video. I'm going to show you, well, this is a two-part video first of all. The first part is just me going through explaining the process of how I'm washing my bike. It is I would call the bullshit version of washing your bike, meaning it's the full long-winded way of washing your bike. Not just washing your bike, but I also talk a little bit about rust proofing and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go into detail at all. This is just a bit of a summary video. I'm going to do other videos of me actually then washing the bike. There'll be no commentary. I'll just stick some music on and you'll just see me washing the bike. If you're into that sort of stuff, I don't know why you'd be into that, but some people are, right? At the end of this, if you watch to the end of this particular video now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to put a snippet in of Matt, i.e. aka the Dirty Carriage guy. He did some videos a while ago, and he called his video, I think, something like the No Bullshit. I'm going to show you in a second, actually. The No Bullshit method of washing your bike, or words to that effect. That's a really important video. The reason I call my method the bullshit way, because it is long-winded. It's A, long-winded, B, expensive. There's a lot of product. C, I use a lot of gadgets like an air blower, all the things that Matt says not to do, or criticizes. I use all that, so mine is very much a bullshit video, but it's probably, you could call my process a once in a year type process. Very much a deep clean of the bike. But like I said, spin to the end of this video as well. Have a look at Matt's channel, Dirty Garage Guy. Have a look for his bike cleaning video. Like I said, I'll put a snippet at the end of my video. That is also really important because, as Matt explained, it's probably better from a maintenance point of view and a safety point of view and blah, 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 to keep your bike cleaned quickly, as a quick clean process, a cheap process, but a process you can easily do more often. So in Matt's case, he does this process once a week. So you could comment on that. I don't really care. It's up to you. But yeah, I think both methods are applicable. Both methods have got their own place. Sometimes, like I said, the long-winded method, you might just be one of those people. I'm not one of those people, by the way, but you might be one of these people that does like to clean the bike. You enjoy the process. With me, I just wanted to basically give my bike a deep clean once in a year, and in between that, I do literally just chuck a bucket of water over it. So this is not something I do every week or anything crazy like that. Right. Anyway, I just wanted to put that explainer there.
I got me a man, but there's just one problem. Well, he works 9 to 5 and he's a hell of a guy, but he's shitting his pants at work.
I didn't really want to do a video on cleaning bikes because everyone's got their own methods and their own approach to this. But if you're like me, I've never really cleaned a bike. I've always had a really scuffy old bike, never really bothered with, or up until now I've got my Royal Enfield, and that's the one that's never been cleaned because it's only done 200 miles, despite the fact I've had it for about 2 or 3 years. But it's come to the point now, I do want to start riding it more. I want to protect it from rust, etc. So I've got to clean it all off first. So I have to start cleaning my bikes, basically. So I'm kind of new to the cleaning world. So what I've done, you know, the benefit you'll have with kind of looking at my tips and tricks is that I've spent hours and hours and hours and hours watching YouTube videos for different people that clean them in different ways. But what I've come up with is really what I think is the best bits from each of those, and kind of pulled it all together. And I've also ordered the things here in the order that you can actually apply them, so it kind of makes logical sense as we're going down. Because some of the things I found was like, there's so many videos, like, well, what do we use and when? There's a million ways to skin this particular cat, if you pardon the expression. So yeah, this is just one method. So chain cleaning is the very first thing you want to do. And different methods, I'm not going to tell you which one you should do because you can decide, because you'll be doing your own research. But what I can tell you, based on the hundreds of hours of videos I've watched, kind of these are the products that I'm going to use. And let's start with chain cleaning. So paraffin is probably the cheapest method and probably one of the best methods. So you can buy all these cans and you can be as environmentally unfriendly as you want with all these tin cans and whatnot. They're very good. I've used this is the Muck Off chain cleaner. I've also used the Motor X chain cleaner degreaser. Very, very good. Can't complain at all, actually. But paraffin looks really well. If you look at the video, there's quite a few videos on the Bike Social. I absolutely love that channel. shout out to those guys. But basically, they did some tests on all these type of washing and cleaning products. One of the tests they did was on chain cleaning, and if you look at that, they test it for different, different properties and whatnot. Chain cleaning and chain lubing, I should say. But basically, paraffin, or if you're American, kerosene, aviation fuel, you could call it different grades of paraffin. But basically, paraffin came out one of the best for cleaning your chain. So that's the first thing. Step 1, clean your chain. Step 2, just get a hose pipe and spray your bike, wet it all down. The wetter the better, in a sense, because you don't want, basically you want the water. I mean, water's a solvent, effectively. It's one of the best solvents you can use. Obviously, you don't want to leave it on there because it's going to start corrosion, but we'll get to that later on. But yeah, just douse the bike in water first of all. If I got a little, just use a hose pipe. I would not recommend using a jet wash, simply because it's just too powerful, right? A jet wash, a big sort of Karcher or whatever, electric plug-in jet wash can be too powerful. You're going to force water in places you don't want it forced, in your switch gear and all those sorts of things. So my advice, do not use a jet wash on your motorbike, but you could use something like relatively low powered. I've got this, for example, this Works battery powered jet washer. I wouldn't really call it a jet wash, it's more, well, it is a jet washer in theory, but it's so low powered. You've even got different power settings, high and low in it as well. So you could use something like this maybe from a certain distance where you're not going to force any water. That is an option. So yeah, so douse the bike down, and then what you're going to do is use something like, well, I'm using the Rhino Goo. You could use things like Muck Off and that sort of thing. Basically, it's a dirt and grime remover, as it says, and it does what it says in the tin. Use it for bikes, motorhomes, cars, boats, whatever you want, really. This is really good stuff. So Rhino Goo or Muck Off, basically this is a chemical method of soaking into the grit and basically stopping it adhering to the surface of your bike or your car anymore. So that's a really good option. Like I said, Bike Social did a review of cleaning products, and the thing to note is that some of these products, if they're left, and I think I would stress it's only if they're left for a prolonged time, they can actually cause corrosion. Things like anodized parts, the anodization, the coating can come off. So yeah, Rhino Goo, get that on there, let it soak in. Then you want to get some of these brushes. These are detailing brushes, so it looks like this. Quite soft bristles, not really going to scratch anything, but any sort of deep areas of grit and grime where it's really caked on. Obviously, once this is soaked in for maybe 10 minutes, get on these brushes and basically just, rub it in, agitate it in, really. So once you've done that, you want to rinse all that off. Again, just a hose pipe down, just hose it all off, get rid of this stuff. Don't leave any sitting, standing on your bike. So those are the detail brushes. The other recommendation I've seen from, I think it was a Bike Social again actually, but these Vegan brushes. So these are kind of long handled brushes. So really good for getting in those nooks and crannies in your bike. Just to agitate the dirt and the grime with this stuff soaking. I think these would be quite good for between the fins of the engine as well, the cooling fins. So Vic and brushes, we'll give those a go. Again, I'll try where I can to leave links in the description to all these things I'm using. So right, we've rinsed all that off now. Now the next thing we want, again, bike's got to be totally wet. You want to make sure that your bike's wet. If you've got a dry bike and you start putting anything on it, to begin with, any bit of, you start touching it, rubbing it with any cloths. I've seen people just going in there, oh, we'll give it a quick clean, we'll get one of these rags like this, we'll just wipe it all, wipe the dust off. All you're really doing, you're just rubbing grit and grime, and you're creating, you won't see them with a naked eye straight away, you're just going to create a heck of a lot of like swirl marks and whatnot, you're going to rub it in to the bike. So you don't want that. What you want to do is get everything off, and the principle with this, because I've washed, I'm a big car nut as well, and I've been washing cars for years, in the best way possible. But what you want to do is you want to avoid contacting the vehicle with your hands, with your cloths and whatnot. So a little contact as possible. Obviously, you're not going to get away without touching it at all completely, unless your bike's already quite clean. There's going to be some element of touching the bike, but you want to make sure if you do touch your bike, so kind of all this prep work here we're doing now is kind of rinse it off and get all the kind of loose dirt and grit and whatnot off as much off as possible. So when you do apply a cloth, you apply it to a relatively clean surface. You're not going to rub any grit and into the bike and cause scratches. Anyway, so As part of that process, the next non-contact method, once we've done the goo and whatnot, and we've agitated a little bit on some of those areas, and I wouldn't use that on anything shiny, by the way. I wouldn't rub, this is more for like maybe around the engine or exhaust areas, around the wheels or the hubs, chain sprocket area, things like that. You want to use this for, not on any nice shiny bodywork. Okay. So what you want to do then is get an application of snow foam. I tend to buy 25 litres at a time. I've probably had this about 2 years now. Use it for all the cars and whatnot. It just, well, it's a lot more economical. I'm not sure if you can still get it. I'm sure you can. I got this off eBay. It's cherry blast. It gives it a nice sort of cherry smell to it. Absolutely lovely smell to it. So yeah, get yourself a big 25 litre drum, and then you'll probably find that's a bit more economical. So what you can see with snow foam is it covers the bike completely in this basic foam. It smells lovely. I think I got the cherry one. But to apply it, you've got to apply it. You can get special applicators, and normally they kind of fit to a hose pipe or a jet wash. Actually, normally fit to a jet wash. So again, you can use one of these. This has actually got a snow foam attachment on the end of it with this Works jet washer. Again, don't use jet wash on your bike. This is more for an application of snow foam, and it's really weak. It's not very powerful at all. Especially on the lowest setting, so perfectly safe for your bike, this thing. But yeah, you just pour your snow foam in the bottle, that screws off, pour your snow foam in, link the other end here to your hose pipe. It's got a standard hose lock type fitting, and then away you go. It does use the snow foam really quickly, this one. That's the only disappointing thing is that it does go through, within a couple of minutes or a minute, that's all gone basically. It's pumping out really fast, gives you good coverage. If you haven't got one of those, there is a more, easy way. I've not tried this yet. I'm going to try it today, which is this IQ Foam Pro 2 cleaning sprayer. So basically you take the lid off this, you pump it up a few times, pressurise it essentially, and then you just basically press this, and it's got a special nozzle which creates the snow foam. And that it's got a locking thing as well on that. So we're going to give that a go today. I'm hoping that's going to work out really well, because I'm hoping it uses less snow foam, but gives a really good covering on the bike. And again, anything to avoid a jet wash, the better, basically. So we've let the snow foam soak for maybe 10 minutes, and it's gonna a bit like the goo stuff. It's gonna start eating into that grit and grime, loosening it all off. But the idea is then when you start to see it kind of it's going from this uniform coverage, it's starting to sort of split and drip off and that sort of thing. You're starting to see the paint come out from underneath the snow foam again. Then that's basically done its job then. So what you want to do quite quickly, you want to get a hose pipe again, hose it all off so it all drips on the floor. You don't want to leave that stuff soaking on. And obviously the idea is that between these methods here, the goo and whatnot and the snow foam, you've rinsed most of the dirt off. 90% of the dirt's kind of off the bike, and then when you get to the next stage, when you're actually shampooing the vehicle, you're not rubbing any of that stuff in, like I say. Now, you might find some areas where it's a bit harder to shift. We'll cover that in a second, but there are different methods. Some I'd recommend, some I wouldn't. But the next thing really is, once it's rinsed off again, still nice and wet, the bike, we're going to use regular buckets. Here I've got the Meguiar's proper sort of two bucket system. I'll explain that in a second. We want to fill this with shampoo. So if you look on the back, it'll tell you, I think it tells you how to dilute it. But basically, I just normally put a cap of this in, a cap or 2 caps in the bucket like that. Don't fill it all up, maybe half full. Fill it with a mixture of warm and cold water, so it's like an aired water, just more comfortable for your hands. And I think warm water normally agitates muck and gets it off quicker anyway. So yeah, I'm using the Meguiar's Ultimate Wash and Wax. There are other products available like Autoglim. Just go with a good quality one. The benefit of some of these products, or what they claim is the benefit, the bodywork shampoo and conditioner with that, is that if you got, like, obviously we're going down the process here, we get to the end and we've got like the extra gloss protection from Autoglim. This can be rubbed off with some shampoos. So you don't necessarily have to do this every time you wash it, but if you wanted to leave a coat of that on, then if you use the kind of compatible shampoo, then next time you wash it, it won't necessarily wash the sort of top coat of the polish effectively, or your wax. So that's maybe something you want to consider. But yeah, for today I'm just going to use this Ultimate Wash and Wax, Meguiar's Ultimate Wash and Wax. Dear me. Right, so the 2 bucket method. What this is all about really is trying to control the amount of grit that goes, but basically you transfer back onto your bike or car, i.e. you don't want any going back on, right? Because again, it's going to rub it all in and create scratches. So you've got one bucket which is only going to have your warm, soapy, clean water in, and then the other bucket is just going to start off with, are you helping again? Are you trying to help? The second bucket is going to have just cold water, just cold, clean water. It'll begin clean anyway. Cold, clean water, no soap in that one. The only difference is you can see the bottom of this bucket has actually got one of these what do we call it? Like a filter, I suppose, a grate. But obviously it's got water underneath it, so it doesn't. Right? Okay, we're waffling on. What it basically means is that when you first thing you do, obviously, you get your mitten or whatever. This is a microfiber wash mitt, so I'll come back to those in a second. But basically, you get your mitten or your sponge or whatever, douse it in the soapy water, rub it on your bike or your car, and then what you don't want to do is put this dirt, what will now have dirt on the cloth. You don't want to put it back in the clean water because you're going to get this clean water dirty quite quickly, and not just the fact that it looks horrible, it's actually obviously got potentially bits of grit and stones, whatever in there, and you don't want to put that back on your vehicle. What you want to do is rinse that off, that dirt, in what is the clean water, yeah? So you're washing your bike or car, you're then rinsing in here, then you're putting it back in here to apply some more soapy water, and you're doing that, you're repeating that cycle basically. But the benefit of this, any grit that you do put back in here is going to stay at the bottom. Okay, so it's not going to be transferred back into there. That's the idea. Right, so to rub the bike, again, if you do have to contact it because it's that grimy, you want to use microfiber cloths. So you can get a bag of microfiber cloths like this. This is just from the range, about £2 or £3 I think they were, for big cloths, which is about 4 in there. I think it's 3 or 4, 3 I think in there. They look like this. This is a separate, different make, I think, but this is kind of what they look like, really sort of fine microfiber. You can use these for washing or for drying. I've also got on Amazon some of these mittens. These are a cheap set. I'm not sure how good they're going to be, but they're microfiber. But again, this is kind of what they look like. It's really sort of I don't know what material is really, but anyway, it feels really felty, but it's really soft anyway. The point is, it's not going to designed not to create scratches on your vehicle. Only if you keep them clean though. So like I say, you've got to keep rinsing. Right, if this has got muck on it, you've muck from one part, you move the muck to the other part, you'll just scratch another part of your vehicle. So they only work if you keep them clean. Obvious, right? Right, so we've washed the bike again with shampoo. Again, we're back to rinsing off again. There's a lot of rinsing involved in this process. So rinse it all off again, and then basically that's kind of it. It's washed. You want to make sure that you dry it off. Okay, so simple methods are, people use chamois leathers and all that stuff. I think chamois leathers just tend to drag the bloody any dirt that is still on there, just drags it across and scratches. So I don't tend to use a chamois. What you can use is like a microfiber drying towel, so you can just basically place this on and just pat it in. So petrol tank, for example, on your bike, just place that on and pat it on, and then it will just soak up the water, rinse it out. Got to keep these again clean. Watch them for just blowing on the floor. If it's gone on the floor, if that cloth's gone on the floor, don't use it again, it's going to have grit. Chuck it in the wash pile. You can wash these out, you can use these multiple times, but don't use anything that's blown on the floor. What I've got here though is I've invested, I think it's an investment, my wife wouldn't call this an investment, but I'm calling it an investment. This is a Brewhull, is that how you pronounce them, Brewhull dryer? It's the twin cylinder version. I think it's 2,400 watts or maybe 2,800 watts. Anyway, it's the big version, and this is going to basically blow all the water off. You can use, if you want, the pet dryer, but pet dryers, this is designed for outside use basically, so that some of the electrics are protected from water, whereas the pet dryer ones maybe not so. You can use a leaf blower. I don't tend to like using leaf blowers because the downside with a leaf blower, you might have one in your arsenal anyway, so if you've already got one, great, use it. But they don't tend to have a filter on there, so if it picks up any grit and shit, basically, in the intake side, you could easily blow it out onto the, through the nozzle, and you end up sandblasting your bike if you're not careful. So I wouldn't really use a leaf blower. I would just get something that's designed for the job, and this is it. So once the bike's all dried off, then the next thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to apply some rust protection to some of those areas. I want this going directly onto the paintwork, the bodywork, whatever it is. I don't want it kind of sitting on top of polishes. I want the next thing to be this stuff. So again, you can use something like ACF 50. ACF 50 comes in a bottle, well, come different sizes. This is a, what's this, 32 ounce bottle. It comes with a little spray gun as well. Again, there's loads of videos on how to apply this stuff, but one thing worth bearing in mind is that when you spray this on, firstly you should kind of warm it up in a bucket of warm water if you're in a cold country or it's a cold day like I am here in the UK. You want to warm it up just to make it a little bit more runny. Apply the ACF 50. You can, like I say, you can use this bottle, but it does go on. It's not very fine. It's not very misty. It's just quite big droplets, really. So not the best, really, but that's an option. You'll see people using the spray guns. So hook up a compressor, and you can do all that. I cannot be bothered faffing around with a compressor because I've only got one bike at the moment. Well, two bikes, but one bike that I'm sort of riding regularly. One of these flare aerosols works really well, just creates a really fine mist. Very much approaching the mist you get off an actual compressor spray gun. So that's a nice way of doing it. Like I say, you want to, before you put it in the bottle, put it in the bottle, just let it soak in a bucket of warm water, just make it a bit thinner. Yeah, back to the bike social videos. The bike social videos, well, a couple of videos I've been watching that I think really, really useful. One was Stuart Fillingham's videos on so this product actually, the Genelite they used. I think that's really useful. So I might find an application for that. Again, just in an aerosol, you can just spray that directly on. But I think the more important video that I saw was the one from the Bike Social team. And this was kind of just comparing these different rust inhibitor products. There's obviously a lot out there in the market. They did look at ACF 50. The one that kind of came out top in my, I think from my memory, was the XCP Professional. When I say top, they tested it for different different test conditions, I should say. So they looked at how much, on some plain steel, how much rust was formed on that steel. I.e. how much protection did they give, but also how sticky was it, how much did the road grime stick to it, and how easy it was to get off, all those sorts of things. Anyway, go and watch the Bike Social video. I'll try and put a link in the description for that. Absolutely fantastic. Bottom line was, though, you can keep your ACF 50, thank you very much. I'm going with XCP Professional. I probably will use this, to be honest, in little bits. It's probably a good top up. But I'm going to try and stick with this XCP Rust Blocker. And maybe in different areas, I'm going to use the clear coat. I might use this on the tank, for example. I'm not really sure. Maybe I don't need it on the tank, but underneath the tank. Anyway, they come with these little nozzles and these little bottles. I don't know what they are, about 12, 13 quid each or something. These are just probably the best you can get. By all means, do the ACF 50. Everyone loves it, I know. But it's very well marketed. Some of this stuff, obviously, you do have to reapply it periodically. This thing, I think, will last for about a year. I'm probably going to use this some areas. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to use it yet. You've got the existing Waxel, so maybe I'll use Waxel on the underside of the mud guards. This is a black version, which I don't really want to use, but there is a clear version, slightly different make. It's not Hammerite. This is a Tetrasil one. I might use this underneath the mud guards, for example. So it's going to give me a lot of year-round protection. I don't see it, so it's going to protect things. So they're going to be a bit of a combination of these things. Right, so that's that. The next thing is for the bodywork. So if you are in a rush, you can just use something like the Autoglym Rapid Detailer. This just applies with a microfibre cloth and rubs back off. Really good stuff. I use this on my classic cars if I'm going to a classic car show. If you're in a bit of a rush and the car is relatively clean, again, you don't want to be rubbing grit in, this is a good thing to use. You might want to put some polish on there. This is like a Autoglym super resin polish. That's quite good. The thing with this is you tend to polish and then wax seal it. So you get polish into a fine sort of shine, then sealing it with a wax. I haven't actually got any wax here, but it's in the car. But basically, I'll be putting some wax on as well. But yeah, if you want to polish it, you can do. Probably not a bad idea. My bike's so new, I'm not going to even bother polishing it. But if you did polish it, you want to then protect that. So there's an extra gloss protection. I'm not sure if it's a bit like, this is a liquid, it's not really a wax. but you really should just put a wax on the top. I've also, because I've got a leather seat, I'm going to clean the seat. I'm going to clean it with the leather cleaner first. Should be that way, shouldn't it? Leather cleaner first, and then we'll just treat it with this leather balm. Again, leather over time does crack. I think my seat's leather. Anyway, if it is leather, looks leather, I'm going to put some of that on it. Right, now don't forget, at this point, we've been washing the bike, and that chain, because we cleaned it right at the start, and the aerosol been faffing around with this, that chain is going to go rusty. So we're going to lube the chain. So you could use something like the Motor X chain lube. There's lots of different lubes. So, you know, there's Teflon lube and all sorts of things. Again, looking at the bike social test that they did a whole video on this, which I found incredibly useful. But the standard gear oil, 80, 90, I think it was gear oil. Just use a gear oil basically. And just rub that on. Obviously, it's got more prone to fling, but so it will come off as the chain is spinning more than some of the other products. But the protection it gives is better. And if you look at the price of it, again, and the environmental side, this comes in a bottle, lasts you ages and ages. This stuff's obviously aerosol cans and I don't know, traps. If I was maybe going on a trip, I might take some lube like this, a small can of that. It's probably better rather than a big tub of this, but yeah, so make sure you lube your chain after all this. That was a good rundown of all the gear that I'll be using today, and we just need to get cracking with it now because we're going to lose the daylight and I want to go for a ride.
Right, so now I'm going to quickly show you Matt's video. Like I said, I promised at the start of my video, I'll quickly show you Matt's video. So let's have a look at that. And as you can see with Matt's video, the Dirty Garage Guy, this is how to wash the bike without the bullshit. I'm not going to play all the video, just a little bit of the intro and the clips. Go and watch Matt's video. Go subscribe to his channel. It's brilliant, the Dirty Garage Guy. If you want no bullshit, basically. I love the no bullshit stuff.
Well, it's Matt, welcome back to the shop, and today we are going to do shaky camera because it's windy, because it's the perfect day to be doing this. But today we are going to be cleaning a bike. As you can see, she is in a shit state. Now, why the fuck am I doing this video? Well, I've seen a load of bikes and they fucking need it, obviously. Right, just not dick around, let's just fucking get on with it. Right, as you can see, there is loads of shit in here. Kawasaki, what the fuck is this about? There's literally like this trough at the back and everything that splashes off the back of it just gets trapped right here.
I'm just going to fast forward this a little bit. Like I said, I'm not going to play the entire video, but I just want you to see the principle of what Matt's doing with this as a quick method. I do like it.
So I want to do something in the future to rectify that. As you can see, most of this is sand. They've gritted the roads once. Everyone keeps talking about salt on the roads. Salt dissolves in water.
Right, so Matt's just explaining there. Obviously, that's the state of which your bike can get in. If you use it as a daily bike, daily ride, that's what it can get in. Water a little bit now. So Matt's just chucking a bucket of water, basically chucking a bucket of water with ferroliquid in and just rubbing it with a sponge.
With a sponge. All these young lads, when they get new bikes, they just don't bother.
So again, you might comment on this saying, "Oh, I was going to get scratches." Like Matt's got a follow-up video to this. Yes, you will do, but again, for a bike of a certain condition or a daily bike, you don't really not too precious about. This method is absolutely fine, and particularly what Matt's point is here, I think, is if you want a budget, everyone's hard up for cash now. We're all right. So if you don't want to spend 20, 30 quid, 100 quid, 200 quid, whatever you could spend a fortune on all these products that influencers and marketing advertising agencies trying to sell you, ferroliquid and a thing. Is it perfect? No, absolutely not. No one's saying it's perfect, right? But if you're on a budget, it will do the job pretty much, and you'll be 90% there, right? That's the point.
You have shit and dirt and all that stuff is wiped off. You have that on there and you don't clean it off, then what happens is the ice or the water that's in that, it's saturated with water because obviously it's a fucking shitty day. That's all over your bike.
Anyway, I'm not going to go through that. Go and watch that. Right, so I'm quickly going to show you the follow-up video that Matt did. And this is about the bike washing. It's Matt's commentary on the original video and all the comments that he got. Clearly, it's one of those topics that polarizes an audience, right? So I'm going to play Matt's video now. I'm not going to play it all. I'm just going to play bits of it just to give you the gist. But go and subscribe to the Dirty Garage Guy. Go and watch his channel. It's really, really good. And you'll see. Go and search his channel for this video. Right, let's press the old play button.
Loads of people lost their shit over that, which is great. Bit of controversy. I don't know. Any road. So loads of people go, that's not the way you wash a bike. Well, dickhead, the bike is clean. So, yes, the title said without all the bullshit. And people, fuck me. It basically has just drawn a line of my subscribers as who's a fucking pillock and who isn't. Now, let me make it perfectly clear. The fact of the matter is that there are loads of bikes out there, and I mean loads of bikes. I see them, and we all see them every day, that just aren't looked after. You know what I mean? They aren't cleaned properly. Over Christmas, I'll do the proper wash, if you get what I mean. We start taking bits off. There's some interesting things in there, and so on. But micro scratches, fuck me. What about the 2 bucket method? Like I said, it's without all the bullshit. To me, what's more important? My cases don't become compromised and all the fucking paint flakes off and the aluminium starts to go white.
Right, I'm not going to play the entire video. I just wanted to give you a bit of an intro to that video because, again, just to show the contrast between what I did with mine. Like I said earlier on, my bullshit, calling my bullshit method. Detail, which you just wouldn't do very often. You just would not do. I've done it once, right? That's how often I've done it because it's just so bullshit and so time consuming. 99% of the time I'm washing my bike with a bucket. I don't use fair liquid, but literally just water, just getting the stuff off water. I might use water with a spray foams, and I try not to touch it at all. But I don't, all the stuff I've just shown you, I don't do that bullshit. I've done it once, so it's probably due again this year. This Christmas, actually, I'll do it again. Yeah, that's all I want to say on that. So yeah, good video on that. Right, thanks for watching, everyone. Next video I'm going to do is just like I said, me actually washing my bike. So if you've got some sort of weird perversion, you like blokes washing the bikes, if you're into that sort of stuff, then knock yourself out. I'm going to do a video of me washing my bike with some background music. So knock yourselves out. Cheers.
Oh, we love you, all agitate.